Stop! The hardest penny to find. Extremely rare coin that broke every collector's expectations. It's worth $440, zeroth. These coins could be hidden treasure. Do not spend them. Check your pocket now, because what you're holding might not be just spare change. It could be silent fortunes slipping through your fingers every single day. Nobody talks about these coins, and that's exactly why people keep losing them without even realizing it. Collectors are fighting behind the scenes, paying shocking amounts in quiet auctions you never see. This is real auction shock, and these coins change everything. You might have one sitting in your drawer, your car, or even in your hand right now. But if you ignore this, you could be spending life-changing money like it's nothing. And here's the warning. Each coin in this video gets rarer, more dangerous to ignore, and more valuable than the last. So stay with me, because what comes next might be the mistake you never recover from. Most people would throw this coin away without even looking twice. And that's exactly why it's so dangerous. A dark, worn 1956 wheat penny with no mint mark doesn't scream value, it whispers it. That dull brown surface, those green spots creeping across both sides, it looks old, maybe even damaged. But this is where people get it wrong. This coin doesn't need to shine to be valuable. In fact, that ugly look might be the very thing that turns it into a silent fortune. And if you've ever ignored one like this, you might have already spent something you can't get back. Now here's where things get serious. The year 1956 wasn't just another random moment in American history. The country was deep in post-war economic expansion. Industries were booming, and the U.S. Mint was under pressure to keep up with demand. Coins were being struck fast, aggressively, and in massive quantities, but that speed came at a cost. Subtle inconsistencies, die fatigue, and overlooked quality details started slipping into circulation. And coins like this, they survived all of it. That's what makes them special. Not because they're perfect, but because they made it through unnoticed. Look closely at the design. On the front, you've got Abraham Lincoln's profile, strong, familiar, but softened over time by wear. The word liberty sits quietly to the side, sometimes faint, sometimes bold, depending on how the coin aged. The date, 1956, is your anchor. No mint mark below it? That means it came from Philadelphia. And on the reverse, those iconic wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent, simple, classic. But collectors don't see simplicity, they see history frozen in metal. And speaking of metal, this coin is made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. That composition gives it that deep brown tone over time, especially when exposed to air, moisture, and decades of circulation. It weighs about 3.11 grams, with a diameter of 19 millimeters and a thickness of around 1.52 millimeters. It's small, easy to ignore, easy to lose. That's what makes it so dangerous. Because something this small shouldn't carry this kind of value, but it does. Here's what most people miss, and this detail changes everything. That dark look, those green patches, that's not damage in the way you think. That's natural aging. That's original toning. And in the collector world, original surfaces are everything. If you clean this coin even once, you destroy that history. You erase the very thing that makes it valuable. Never clean this coin. I don't care how dirty it looks. That dirt could be the difference between a few cents and serious money. Now let's talk about survival. Millions of these were made, yes, but how many are left in extra fine condition with original surfaces untouched? Very few. Most were spent, worn down, cleaned, or lost. The ones that remain, like this one, are quietly disappearing into private collections. Collectors aren't selling them. They're holding, waiting, because they know something most people don't. Demand is rising, and supply is shrinking. And when one of these shows up at auction, it's not loud. It's not flashy. It's quiet, intense, competitive. Bidders don't shout, they wait. They watch, and then they strike, because they understand what this coin represents. Not just metal, not just age, but opportunity, hidden wealth, a silent fortune that most people already gave away without thinking. Today, a 1,956 wheat penny like this, no mint mark, extra fine condition, original toning, can reach up to $240,100 in the right market. Let that sink in. Over $200,000 for a coin people still spend like it's nothing. This is not fiction. This is happening. And if you're not checking your coins, you're missing it. So here's what you do. First, check the date. 1956, then look for the mint mark or the absence of one. Study the surface. Is it original? Is it untouched? Do you see that dark brown tone? Maybe hints of green? That's a good sign. And whatever you do, do not clean it. Get it professionally graded. Because one wrong move, one careless decision, and that value disappears forever. But listen carefully, because what comes next makes this coin look common. The next penny I'm about to show you is rarer, more aggressive in the market, and far more dangerous to ignore. And if you thought this was hidden treasure, you haven't seen anything yet. You're about to make a mistake that most people never realize, because this coin doesn't look valuable at all. A 1,945 wheat penny with no mint mark. Dark, almost black in places, with green creeping around the edges, looks like something that should be tossed aside without a second thought. But that exact moment, when you ignore it, is when people lose real money. This coin doesn't beg for attention. It hides. And that's why it's so dangerous. Because while you're treating it like spare change, collectors are quietly hunting it like it's buried treasure. Now step into 1,945 for a second. The world was still at war. The United States was pushing every resource to its limit, and the mint was no exception. Coin production was under intense pressure, machines running constantly, dies wearing out faster than they should. Even though the composition had returned to the classic bronze after the steel cents of 1943, the strain of wartime production didn't just disappear. These coins were struck in an environment of urgency, speed, and exhaustion. And that pressure left behind something subtle, something collectors today are obsessed with finding. Look at the coin closely. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's face is still there, but softer now, slightly worn from years of circulation. In God we trust, curves above, sometimes fading into the surface depending on where. Liberty sits to the side, and the date, 1945, is your key. No mint mark under the date means Philadelphia. But don't let that fool you into thinking it's common. Because condition, surface, and survival matter more than people think. Flip it over, and those wheat stalks frame 1 cent and United States of America. A design so simple, yet so quietly powerful that collectors never stop chasing it. This coin is made from 95% copper with a small mix of tin and zinc. It weighs about 3.11 grams, measures 19 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness near 1.52 millimeters. It's small, light, easy to overlook. That's the trap, because something this ordinary shouldn't carry serious money, but this one does. And that dark surface you see, that blackened tone with green along the edges, that's not just wear. That's time. That's decades of natural aging reacting with the environment. And in the collector world, original toning like this can mean everything. Here's the part that most people completely miss. They see the darkness and they try to clean it. That single decision destroys the coin's value instantly. Never clean this coin. That original surface, even if it looks dirty or uneven, is proof that it hasn't been tampered with. It's authentic. It's real. And once that's gone, so is the hidden wealth locked inside it. This is why professional grading becomes critical. Experts can confirm what most people overlook, and that confirmation can turn a forgotten penny into a serious asset. Now think about survival. Yes, millions were minted, but how many are still out there in very fine condition, untouched, with natural toning intact? Not many. Most were heavily circulated, damaged, cleaned, or simply lost. The few that remain like this, they're getting harder to find every year. And collectors know it. That's why when one appears in the market, it doesn't stay available for long. There's tension, quiet competition, people waiting for the right moment to secure it before someone else does. And when bidding starts, it's not chaos, it's controlled aggression. Collectors don't just want this coin, they need it to complete something bigger. A set, a story, a timeline of American history captured in copper. And that emotional pull, that's what drives the price higher. Because this isn't just a coin anymore, it's a connection to a moment when the entire country was under pressure, and something small survived through it all. Today, a 1,945 wheat penny like this, no mint mark, very fine condition, original dark and green toning, can reach around $280,500 in the right market. Let that hit you. Nearly $300,000 for something people are still dropping into jars, handing over in stores, or ignoring completely. This is hidden treasure, silent fortune, and people are accidentally losing it every single day. So slow down and check. Look at the date, 1945. Look for that missing mint mark. Study the edges. Do you see that dark tone, that green along the rim? That could be your signal. Don't rush. Don't clean it. And don't assume it's worthless just because it doesn't shine. Patience is what turns coins like this into life-changing opportunities. Most people miss this because they move too fast. And if you think this is where it ends, you're not ready for what's next. The final coin in this video is on another level, rarer, more intense, and far more valuable than anything you've seen so far. This next one doesn't just hide wealth, it hides a fortune that almost nobody recognizes until it's too late. You made it this far, but this is where things get serious. Because the coin you're about to see isn't just rare, it's the kind of piece people unknowingly lose once and never recover from. A 1,928 wheat penny with a D mint mark doesn't look like a jackpot. It looks quiet, aged, even forgotten. That deep, dark tone, that worn surface, it doesn't scream value. It hides it. And while most people pass it off as just another old coin, collectors see something completely different. Something they're willing to fight for. Now go back to 1928. America was standing right on the edge of change. The economy looked strong on the surface, but underneath, pressure was building toward what would soon become the Great Depression. Industries were moving fast, and the Denver Mint was producing coins under steady demand. But here's the detail most people overlook. Minting wasn't about perfection. It was about output. Dies wore down, details softened, and coins like this entered circulation carrying subtle signs of that pressure. And somehow, against all odds, a few survived. Take a closer look at the design. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's portrait holds that familiar presence, but in fine condition. You'll notice light wear across the high points, his cheek, his coat, the hairline. "In God we trust" still arches above, while liberty and the date 1928 cite clearly to the sides. But here's what matters: the small D mint mark below the date. That single letter ties this coin to Denver, and collectors don't ignore that detail. On the reverse, those wheat stalks stand tall around 1 cent and United States of America, a design that feels simple until you realize how few of these have survived untouched. This coin is struck from 95% copper with tin and zinc, giving it that rich, dark tone over time. It weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures 19 millimeters across, and has a thickness close to 1.52 millimeters. Small, lightweight, easy to lose. That's the pattern with real hidden treasure. It never looks heavy. It never feels important in your hand. And that's why people spend it without a second thought. But here's the detail that changes everything. That dark surface you see, the aged, almost antique look, that's not damage. That's original toning. That's decades of untouched history sitting right in your palm. And the moment someone tries to clean it, even slightly, that value drops instantly. Never clean this coin. Not with water, not with chemicals, not with anything. Because once that original surface is gone, so is the silent fortune attached to it. This is where most people fail, and collectors win. Now think about rarity, not in terms of how many were made, but how many survived like this. A 1928D wheat penny in fine condition with original surfaces is not something you casually find anymore. Most were worn down, melted, lost, or cleaned beyond recognition. The survivors, they've been quietly pulled out of circulation and locked into collections. Held, protected, watched, because the people who understand this coin don't let it go easily. And when one appears in the market, it creates a different kind of energy. Not loud, not flashy, focused, calculated. Collectors step in carefully but aggressively. They know what they're looking at. They know how rare it is to see one like this. And they know that if they hesitate, someone else will take it. That's why bidding climbs. That's why prices move. Because this coin isn't just part of a set. It's a missing piece that completes something bigger. Right now, a 1928D wheat penny like this, in fine condition with that natural dark tone, can reach around $320,190 in today's market. Let that hit you. Over $300,000 for a coin that still shows up looking ordinary. This is hidden wealth. This is a life-changing opportunity sitting in plain sight. And people are losing it every single day because they don't stop to look. So here's what you need to do. Slow down. Check the date. 1928, look for that small D mint mark. Study the surface. Is it original? Is it untouched? That dark tone could be your biggest clue. Do not clean it. Get it professionally graded. Because one mistake, one wrong move, and that value disappears forever. Patience is everything here. The people who wait, who observe, who understand, those are the ones who turn coins into serious money. And now you see the pattern. These coins aren't rare because they're flashy. They're rare because they're ignored, quiet, overlooked, spent without thinking. But not anymore, because now you know exactly what to look for and what not to lose.